If you know any other information or have evidence for or against the things discussed, feel free to let me know. I am but a humble retard on the internet. I've been to quite a few anime cons, and despite the obvious overlap with anime conventions, Offkai was a whole other animal altogether. My friend Moon invited me out to go to this thing, and frankly I went more to hang out with friends than to see any Vtubers, but I got a press badge. And, I was like, you know what, let's make some use of this. And I set out to just hang out and talk to some of the attendees, the vendors, some of the talents running around, just to see how they were enjoying the con. But things took a bit of an odd turn when I started actually digging in and wading through some of the shit that was going on during Offkai. And a lot of said things made me tilt my head a bit and like that can't be a thing, right? But I do want to highlight a few things, So we're going to start with a few simple phases and move on to the more saucy bits. I'm sure everyone has been reading on X and 4chan. More or less, Sakana helping out the vendors, Phase Connect. Phase Con, I'm sure, is going to be coming up here soon, and we're getting that a little bit. The insanely small space, the long lines, asking attendees questions about the Vtuber community that kind of rose up. The community rift I was unaware of. That was a bit surprising. People are opinionated, that kind of thing. And the alleged sabotage that may have been taking place during the con. Or it didn't happen. Or it did. Who knows? So the first thing I want to highlight is the absolute generosity of Phase Connect. They went in and they paid for all the booth and tables for the vendors, which is a pretty fucking big dick move. And talking to the vendors, they deeply appreciated this. So I think credit is due where credit is due. And a big thanks to Sakana and his team for, I'm sure it's a Sakana or Sakana. I'm probably going to say it wrong the entire time. To be a mad fish kind of staring at me in the background. But, doing this, it took a lot of pressure off of those vendors. And they were far more relaxed. But they also was a bit less relaxed due to a few things due to the attendees. But, a huge shout out to Phase Connect for doing that for the vendors. They deeply appreciated what you guys did. And when I was talking to them and interviewing these guys, they had nothing but glowing respect for Phase Connect. And to be fair, it appeared to soften the blow that a lot of them had with the actual con itself. A lot of the vendors were quite peeved at Offkai for a few things. I think the biggest issue was the lines. The lines were fucking huge. This was not a big venue space. I think even NakaCon in Kansas City has a bigger venue space than this. And people were just crammed nut to butt everywhere they went. The line for the vendor hall wrapped out the building down the sidewalk. And the vendor hall itself wasn't very large. And the vendors were kind of packed in a little bit. Not too bad, though. It wasn't too bad. But the AC wasn't great. A lot of the vendors were baking alive down in the merchant hall. And it was kind of in two separate rooms. So you had one room with most of the vendors and one room with a few tables in there. And there were a few other big rooms upstairs that were full of company stuff and that, like robots and computer towers and that kind of thing. And it was kind of funny asking them because a lot of these vendors were Anime Con veterans in a way. And everyone does it their own separate way. These guys either brought their stuff with them to California or shipped their goods to California via freight, which I found quite curious. But they kept saying, a few of them kept saying that the attendees were far more intense than Anime Cons. These guys were super into buying whatever merch they could on their oshi, if you will, but they were being very critical of the merch. And a few of them said that they were quite taken aback by how, as one woman put it, how toxic they were about the merchandise. And I'm kind of looking at it, and it looked pretty okay to me. It looked fine. It's your standard, keychain, stickers, that kind of stuff. But apparently, if they were in a too compromising position or not lewd enough, they were quite vocal about it. I know one vendor in particular, again, I'm being very vague and anonymous because, I don't want to drag someone's name out there and get yelled at. But one woman in particular, she was her social battery was getting taxed a lot faster than it usually was due to how intense these con-goers were. And she was quite, she was doing her best to kind of deal with me interviewing her and people walking up and buying stuff and how they were reacting to all her stuff. But, you know, a lot of the vendors were trying to adapt. Like, I think this is, for a lot of them it was, but it was their first, you know, Vtuber con. First time doing Offkai, and they were not prepared for the particular flavor of autism that Offkai brought with it. But at the same time, I think Sakana paying for all the vendor booths kind of helped alleviate a lot of that. What was really crazy was watching VTubers on Roombas kind of run around the merchant space. So while I was down there, Miss Lala, who is a VTuber, you can find her on Twitter. She's like a 1950s diner themed avatar in a way. But she was rolling around with her little Roomba and her like staff behind her. And this thing could actuate. So she looks up at the gal, says, "I love your stuff," and like looks back down. And it was some pretty surreal shit watching VTubers on screens talk to each other. Lala was talking to Eldehinda, and they were talking to each other from screen to screen. I'm going, what the fuck is going on? Because earlier that day, it was Nano talking to Rhubarb. And I was like, it's some of the strangest shit watching two digital formats talk to each other and yell at each other or whatever else they were doing. It was interesting because I called them shell bots when I saw them, because that's an ancient meme from fucking Big Bang Theory. I know, boomer, fuck you guys, whatever. But watching these little shell bots roll around with VTubers, looking around and running people over. It was some lady with a raccoon. She was running around and she ran some poor dude over. I watched what was it, some kind of gerbil VTuber fucking bash into a dude and knock him over. It was fucking comedy gold. I see, ooh, I look, and there's this VTuber fucking running this fucker over. I'm like, oh my god, they're fighting back. Oh god, it was funny. It was quite entertaining, but it was a new thing I'd never seen before, and more than likely, I can see these catching on other cons too. Like, say you're at an anime con, you'll see a VTuber rolling around with their little 3D printed stand, and they all had these little minders to them. And the next biggest issue was just internet in general. You're at a VTuber con. VTubers there. You need to have crispy internet. You need to have it going. You need a strong internet signal, and it wasn't there. There were constant technical issues. I don't know how they didn't do tests. These guys were there, a day or two ahead of time, and they couldn't do any tests to make sure they could run all these fucking VTubers running around. Like, you had people falling out. They're on the atrium, and it turned out, I was talking to a few of the minders for these little mobile battle bots they had running around, and they kept having to use their own phone hotspot to power these robots, because the hotel internet just wasn't fucking cutting it, or it was too poor where they couldn't do it. And there are also issues with just trying to get events going in general. Of course, it mostly dealt with one particular event, but we'll get to that in a minute. But if you're gonna run, I was kind of flabbergasted that if you're gonna run an internet-based thing with these VTubers running around, and a lot of them are doing it in their rooms. Apparently, a lot of these VTubers were in their rooms broadcasting from the hotel to their shell bots, their little battle bots, little VTuber bots running around. And it was kind of funny, because I thought they were all coming in from their house. No, some are in their fucking hotel rooms, fucking doing VTuber shit, running around, the fucking atrium. But yeah, if you're gonna have an entire internet thing based on internet stuff, you need to have internet. You need to have good internet, and they just didn't. They kept fucking it up. And I was trying to figure out how the hell they didn't plan that far ahead, or was there an issue with it? Was the hotel doing it? No one knew. Asked some staff, they had no idea. So that was pretty fun, to say the least. But one of the things this did do is allow for more non-structured contact with talent. Do I call them talent? I want to call them the girls. That sounds dumb. Didn't want to call them the VTubers, because no fucking shit. I'm just going to call them talent. Fuck it. But it allowed the con goers to see talent running around the wild. Like, oh, hey. And I kind of started going in, asking questions around this time. And I started asking guys, why did you come here? What brought you here? Because an anime con is far more broad. It's a lot more broad. You have all the animes, all the mangas, it's all the vendors, all the cosplay. It's far more general. It's far more things here. At Offkai, it was very narrow. But I was wanting to know how narrow it was. And there were guys who came here from the eastern seaboard and flew across just for the chance to talk to one person. They want to talk to this one VTuber who was there. And I find that both charming and kind of weird, But like say my wife, she goes, I don't get it. You can talk to him online. Why do you want to do it in person? And why would you want to go all the way there, spend all this? She said, can't you just send him those super chats and call it a day and have him say your name online? I was like, yeah, well, kind of. But this odd little thing they did. I saw an odd kind of happiness in these people when they were able to go and have their oshi. I hate saying oshi. It sounds like see their oshi. When they see their oshi, see them. They look into a camera. Their oshi can see the real them, and they can talk directly to their oshi. And I think that was the main selling point for a lot of this. They could wait in these guys are waiting in these huge ass fucking lines and trying to get the time hats down and be there for a chance to talk to their oshi face to screen, or even in real life. A lot of the talent came down and they were meeting their fans in real life, And we'll get to that here in a minute. It's a whole other question that kind of sparked my brain. But I'm kind of watching these guys. I mean, I'm in the corner, kind of standing there, kind of making notes on my phone, and I'm watching these guys talk to these women and men, and their face just lit up. I mean, they were so happy. And it was like almost like a childlike. I won't say a childlike, an innocent happiness of being able to see this person in real life and talk to them without having to pay money on a stream or a bunch of bits or a big donation. Because even then, it's one-sided. You can send a message and then kind of talk back to you, but it's not that one-to-one rapport they can build between each other. And watching these guys, they're smiling so brightly and are so excited. I was standing in line for these gals in the vendor hall. They were from a 3 a.m. Hold on here. Yeah, 3 a.m. talent, and there were 4 of them there. There was Meat. I remember Meat because I'm all for that. Oh, fucking Oni look! I thought Meat was fucking adorable when I saw her. There was Oli and what was it? Croak. Oh, there's a frog. What's his name? Koki. I believe it was Koki because she explained to me that she was named after a frog. It makes a loud noise and annoying. And I was like, oh, so it's you. And there was Callie Calico, who insisted she was not actually a cat, but I'm pretty sure she was actually a cat. But these 4, Callie, Koki, Meat, and Ollie, were all together on the screen, and they were talking to their fans. And okay, you know what? This is a pretty short line because it had been really long for a while. I figured I'd kind of settle in there. I didn't always abuse the press pass. All right, I waited in line sometimes, but they were doing a meet and greet with their fans, and their fans were so excited to meet them. And I was kind of like, why do you like these gals, or why are you waiting in line here? And there were a few guys there I was talking to, and they were all about just going in and kind of reinforcing to the gals why they like them and saying how, like, I want you to keep going, keep doing this. I love what you do. I'm here for you. It was oddly heartwarming in a weird kind of way, like they were taking selfies with them, and it was interesting. It really was. Big shout out to Meat for having the best fucking character in my opinion. Come on, bros, Oni horns and fucking tiger pelt. How can you not like it? We stand Meat in this house. I'm part of the group now. Part of the wall. But all jokes aside, going around and talking to all the VTubers who were there, telecommunicating, either from home or from the hotel, they seem to really enjoy seeing their actual fans in real life and talking one-to-one. Some of them were a bit surprised by I won't say who, but a lot of the VTubers were keeping count of who had the most handsome or muscular fucking fans. It was a pretty fun talk, because I kind of bring it up every once in a while, and they go, "Oh no!" And a lot of them were keeping count on paper on how many fans they thought were cute or hot or muscular, and they were keeping track and fucking telling each other, "I have fucking 14, I have fucking 27. I got all the hottest fans." It had me chuckling. But at the same time, a lot of these viewers were going out in person and meeting people, and I noticed an instant rift with some of the guys. As I was kind of asking the attendees certain questions, one thing kept coming up, in that a lot of the other fans were avoiding the atrium. And I was like, well, why? Because, why I've seen you up here. Like, yeah, I'm not going down there. Why? Oh, because my Oshi's down there. And I was like, well, why should we go see her? He goes, well, I don't want to see him in real life. I don't want to see what they look like. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Why is that? Because it didn't click with me at first. But a lot of the attendees, if they saw that they're saying oshi sound over and over again sounds so fucking dumb. When they would see that their oshi is down there in the atrium doing a meet and greet, they'd leave. They'd leave and either go to their room or go get food or just avoid the area altogether, because they didn't want to know what their oshi looked like. They didn't want to break the veil. They wanted to keep this image in their mind and not ruin it with 3D. And I was like, well, I was sitting there on the atrium kind of walkway that goes around. I'm like, I wonder if they all feel like this, because you can see some get really excited and they're shaking hands or taking selfies. Other ones were hiding. So I started asking because I was just curious. I was honestly just curious about this. So I started asking, like, if you found out what your oshi looked like, what would you do? And for a lot of people, I would say over half, they never want to know. They never want to know what their oshi looks like. To them, they never want to know the 3D attached to 2D. They only want to know that 2D person. They don't want to know the reality of it. They want to adhere to the dream, to this fantasy, which didn't surprise me. It really didn't. I understand that. I get that. You're there for this person online, entertained by them. You think they're funny. You enjoy their content. You watch them play video games or draw art, whatever that is. But they were stressed. They never want to know the reality. For them, knowing the reality is a game breaker. And for a lot of them, I asked, well, how many times have you had an oshi, or like a main talent you jonesed after? And a lot of these guys, if they find out what that person looks like from the neck up, at least, they leave. They peace out. The fantasy's ruined, and they will go somewhere else. And I found that fascinating. Where if the fantasy is ruined, they'll go find a new fantasy. And I would have to wager that's pretty common. It has to be more common than what I think it is, because a lot of VTubers want to try and build that following faster, so they'll post selfies, or they'll post body pics, or God forbid uncensored feed pics. Fucking call the church, call a priest. Fucking there's demons running around out here. Fucking little fucking foot semen demons running around, turning the men folk to foot. Anyway, more or less reminds you of one of the gals I was talking down the vendor hall. I can't find her name, and I took a picture of one of her cards, but it didn't get saved. Thanks, Android. But I was talking to her about it, because she was very clearly a more lewd tuber. Her model was basically a demon with cow horns and a cow tail. And talking to her about, finding that niche. And like a lot of the gals, they want to, I mean, hell, sex sells. Everyone knows that. That's a constant truth, especially in the Vtuber community. And like, you know, asked her, hey, what do you feel about, you know, VTubers that post selfies? And she didn't care. She said, it's fine. How about neck down? And she was like, hey, more power to them. You know, they're trying to grow that following in a more visual way. And talking to her, that was interesting because she was a pretty blatantly, and she wasn't like coy. She was quite upfront, and I actually quite appreciated that. She was upfront about her opinions, you know, and that's quite nice. So if you're out there, let me know who the fuck you were, because I completely forgot and my fucking picture didn't save. So if you're a cow demon girl who's at fucking Offkai in the fucking northern part of it, send me a DM or something, I don't know. But, you know, like some of the guys, they want to know. It's curious how there's one faction who don't want to know a single fucking thing. Like, they didn't even want neck down stuff. Those guys didn't want to know anything about that person. Neck down, neck up, all of it. They didn't want to know, don't want to see it. They had no care for it. And then there were guys who were like, well, if it's neck down, I'm fine with that, you know. If they, they didn't want to see the face, but like if it's neck down and they got a nice body, hey, you know, I'm fucking here to stay. And I was kind of laughing about that with them because I had about 4 or 5 of them in a group. So I was like, hey, you guys, you know, if you see Bob's vagine, you're okay. Like, oh yeah, you know, if she got they said she's got a fat rack and a nice pair of hips. Hey, I'm going to be fucking harder entailed to her content. Like for them, seeing part of the package that was alluring, you're like, hey, I'm fucking all for that. I'm gonna, like, a pair of guys who were talking with me with that little group, they found out their VTuber oshi person had like big breasts and a big ass and big thighs. They're like, yo, like they were not they were not on board with her. They're like on the fence. You know, I like her stuff. When they found out that she had nice Bob's vagine, they were totally on board. They went full dick into it, full whale. So I can kind of see where a lot of the VTuber gals, the talents, why they would do that. If they can pull in more views, more followers, more money that way with just a few neck down selfies here and there, it's part of their process. They're not as it's kind of like a cheat code in a way. I liken it to a cheat code where the people who post nothing, they're doing it the old-fashioned hard way. But if you got those assets, you post those, well, it's like putting fucking rocket fuel in your car. You're going to go a lot fucking faster. And then the ones who would post a selfie. And this is where things got really fascinating for me, asking these guys these questions. I said, hey, you know, I think it was a group of 10 or 11 I was talking to. And they're all kind of like, hey, Garbro's Field Desk, ask a few questions. They were getting ready for some kind of event. And like, yeah, we got about 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. So I pull them up and I'm like, hey, so a lot of the guys here are talking about how they don't care or do care about what their person looks like. What do you guys think? And I asked them the questions again. They were definitely pro 3D. And I asked them, hey, if you find out that your oshi or whatever, your VTuber is not hot, say she's very homely or plain or even ugly, what do you do? And every single one of them said, we leave. They're out. If they find out their oshi is ugly, they pop smoke and they leave. And I was like, whoa. What if you've been like a fan of this lady for fucking 3-4 years and you're all about it, and then you know, one day she's like, you know, I'm going to post a selfie. And you find out that this person you've been following and wailing for and spending money on and buying stuff for was ugly. You just pop smoke. You're out. And they're like, yeah, we're out. They leave. They're not for it. And I was like, damn, you know, like I was like, damn, like that's fucking cold blooded. Like, and once you find out she's ugly, yucky, yucky, and they fucking leave. And I was like, fuck, like it was kind of heartbreaking. Like imagine. Like, really, like, imagine if you're a VTuber and you have, you know, a lot of followers, a lot of fans. You know what? I'm feeling cute today. I'm gonna post a selfie. You're gonna break that wall, pull down the veil for a single post, and then you find out a lot of the guys went ew, yucky, and left. That would completely destroy. Like, imagine how hard that would damage their self-confidence. If they found out people were just like, ew, you're gross, fuck this, I'm out. And they just leave. That's like, it's really sad. And it's kind of, I mean, there's tons of words for it. There's like, being a lookist or whatever, but it's really sad if, these gals, they get the VTubing because they don't feel self-confident, and they finally get that confidence built, and it gets torn down by their fans being mean to them. Like, even say, hey, you're ugly, I'm out. Like, imagine how crushing that'd be. And I was like, I told myself, you know what? If it's the inverse, they're gonna stay. So I told them, hey, if you find out she's an absolute smoke show, I use the term smoke show a lot. If she's an absolute smoke show or hot, are you gonna stay? Like, yeah, I'm even harder in there now. Like, if they find out that their VTuber that they like is, hot as shit, they dig their heels in deeper. Like, oh fuck yeah, she's actually a hot girl, and they fucking dig in deeper, which is just it's something. It's a conversation that made me feel a little sad. Like I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I get why consumers, fans, readers, likers, whatever you want to call them, I get why they think that way. But it must be so crushing for those poor VTubers who aren't hot as shit. Like for some of them, and I'm sure they know that if I post a selfie, people are going to leave. And it made me think of certain things like, what if these two VTubers are friends, right? And then both get popular, but one hates that their friend's a little more popular than the other, and they go, you know what? I want to post her selfie because I guarantee she's not as hot as me. And that gets leaked or doxed, what we want to call it. And then that ruins the other VTuber's career off a selfie. Like say she's a fucking 5 out of 10, and she loses 3,000, 4,000 subscribers. That'd be crushing. That'd be fucking like dropping basically an A-bomb on someone's career. Like it would be untenable. And it's kind of that razor's edge and everything. And the more I asked, the more it became quite clear that there are three camps. There are those who don't want it, those who want the sex appeal, and those who want the entire package. And if you mess up in any three of those camps, you are toast. It is a Gillette razor's edge. There's those three blades. If you fuck up in any of those blades, you're done. There's no more doing it. You're out. And that's fucking crazy to me. It really is. Like, either you stay hidden as 2D, or you stay collar down and hope to God your face or tattoos. It's like say you go fucking neck down, better hide your fucking tattoos, because if you get identified and they post, I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure I have comments down below of saying, oh, this fucking happened, and I guarantee it has. But if you're a VTuber, you're on the Gillette razor's edge. You fuck up at any three of those fucking blades, you're gonna bleed viewers. You're gonna bleed your followers, and it's real, and it's so real. I've always thought about it, but it's like literally, they say, yeah, if you're ugly, we're out. If you show anything about yourself, we're out. Or if you say your body sucks, I'm out. It's just like, god damn. But a lot of the fans, they're really cool. Thankfully, the the lookist portion was quite low. I would say a good solid half were just, I'm just here because I like them. And I do prefer this camp. Like, they're kind of like, hey, I'm just here to be entertained, and I like you because you're entertaining. This particular camp, they were just like, I'm here trying to pass the day, and I think she's funny. I think I like her content, and that doesn't matter to me. I don't care if she stays 2D or 3D or posts selfies. I don't care. I'm just here to be entertained, and I consider them like a friend or like an acquaintance I can go and watch and enjoy and be, pass the time by. And I think they're the most level-headed of the three. The other side was full of, honestly, most of the fucking weirdos. This one, I don't care side, they're by far the most normal. It's just kind of funny. Like, the most normal dudes in there who are like, they're like, okay, wait, they're kind of fit. They take care of themselves. Like, I don't care. As my friend Cozy said, he goes like, I think she's a goober. I watch her because she's a goober. That kind of stuff. And they seem to be what I would call a true fan, where there are no locks and keys. I'm just here for you. And I thought that was pretty sweet. The other side, they were a bit more gross. there were a few guys I was talking to, or like I was like, dude, can you please shut the fuck up and leave me alone? Because like they kept going on, like, hey, I gotta get going, and they would keep talking. I was like, fuck, because you can't, because a lot of these guys, I turned my back on and walked away. I'm like, nope, we're done here, and I walked away. That was that was later on Saturday. A few, I'm like, you know what, dude, we're done here, and I fucking turned my phone off and I walked away because they're just being gross. Like, I don't know why. I think they're trolling me. My brain says they're just trolling you. Ignore it. They must have seen your fucking tag. Oh, he's Garbro. I'm fucking troll him. You know, that would make a lot more sense. I would hope that's what they were doing. But like, there were guys who they're like, I only like the more innocent looking ones. And I was like, oh my god, what do you fucking mean by that? Like what do you mean by innocent? Because it may be like, I don't know, they're naive or whatever. Because, you know, like, they're smaller and they're flat chested. And I was like, oh my god, you know, like, because that is a huge issue in the Vtuber community, the lolicons and all that. And I was like, oh fuck, dude. And there's this one dude, he was like 400, 500 pounds, fucking soaking wet in sweat, and he fucking had me trapped. And I was like, get the, like, it was, I don't think he could understand that he was pissing me off. Because I'll try and walk away, and he'd try and follow me, and I would stop, be like, dude, we're over here. Like, we're not talking anymore. You're an absolute freak. Leave me alone. And he kept going on about how he, like, you know, like I like him flat chested and small, more innocent looking, you know, with their cute voice, and I love buying their yada yada yada. And he said, like, what was that fucking term he used? Armpit pussy or some shit. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Leave me alone. You know, you're a fucking freak. No, there's no one else here like you. You are fucking, I hope you're the minority in all this, like the very small minority. And I was like, and it was like, it makes your fucking body itch. And it's unfortunate, like it is unfortunate that a lot of these dudes, because I would ask, you know, what kind of VTuber do you like? You know, a lot of guys said mommy, which was pretty funny. A lot of guys said tomboy. A lot of guys said like waifu material or feral or gremlin. And that was pretty funny, actually, talking to those guys. Like, oh, I'm feral and mean. I was like, all right, you know, whatever floats your boat there, guy. But there were a lot who were like, you know, I like the lollies. And I was like, why do you like the... And I finally got to use it. I was like, so what about this lolly character really intrigues you? And I kind of stared at him. And they're like, what do you mean? What part of the lolly do you like? And why do you like them? And they got real uncomfortable. Like, oh, you know, to just like them because they're shorter. And I was like, oh yeah, why is that? Like, I kind of pressed them a little bit just to make them sweat, because I found that quite fun, actually, doing that. But you know, it's quite clear why they like them. And there's a pretty, and this is even online. It's worse online. Fuck me. You go on 4chan, it's even worse online. But there are, and very clearly there are some of the fucking companies who pander towards that particular aspect. But it was gross. There are thankfully more mommy chasers than lolly chasers. So that's some good news for the community there. There's more mommy chasers than lolly chasers, and more feral chasers than fucking lolly chasers. And talking to some of the indies walking around, they were like, it's why I found the mommy thing so funny. I was talking to two VTubers up top, and one was like, she had to ban the word mommy in her chat. I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing pretty hard at that, and she was pretty sweet. She was, and she was like, I had to ban the word mommy because it's exhausting, and I can't maintain that persona for long because it hurts my voice. But yeah, she's like, I am so tired of mommy posting, and I had just gotten done with my round, and I was just kind of chuckling to myself, because like, there are guys who want the mommy, but the mommies don't want them. And that was pretty good. But then let's get on to the next part, that if you want to take this with a grain of salt, go right ahead. All right. For all intents and purposes, this is just hearsay. But things I observed, you know, things I saw with my own eyes. Just got buzzed by a fucking airplane. Fucking rich dudes. Anyway, so things I observed with my own eyes was the technical stuff. And it was kind of weird. Yeah, because in the big area, there's always screens doing VTube shit. In the very beginning, there was some issues with everyone, right? But for the most part, the video quality was okay, and it was fully blown up. I think the worst I saw up until Pippa's was this person's. It was kind of smallish, but it was still pretty large, And I don't know. Someone pointed out to me, "Hey, check it out." And I kind of look, and we're on that top, that level above the stairs that's attached to the big atrium place. And I kind of look across, and behind this like little shopping mart little thing by the escalators is like the staff room. And all the staff were all clothed, like a lot of staff were there. And I was like, "What are they doing?" And he goes, "I don't know what they're doing." And another manager I was talking to about stuff, and he points and says, "What are they?" We're kind of talking about it, and I try to pull my camera up, but there's too many people in the fucking way, and I don't want to like, "Hey, get out of the fucking way," be kind of rude. But by the time I make my way around and see what they're doing, they've already dispersed, and I was like, "That's fucking weird. Like, what are they doing?" And then I hear a lot of shouting. I look to my left towards the other side of the atrium, and all the Pippa standees were there. All the Pippa fans were there. I was like, "Oh, well, Pippa's on. I guess I'll go get some shots of this." Get some good pictures. And they all seemed kind of agitated. And I was like, "Well, what are they mad about? Did Pippa say something weird?" And I'm kind of working my way through and have to hold my camera up above me to get a good shot because this tall fucker in front of me. But her screen was super small. Like, her screen was super small. And I was like, "Well, that's fucking weird." Because, it's because I think to myself, I thought they fixed that. I'm pretty sure I thought they fixed that problem like a little while ago. And I'm kind of looking around, and there were other screens on. The other screens had the correct, the correct size video. There's a small problem before Pippa and another one, and I thought they fixed it. But Pippa was super small, and they were having audio issues. Which was really fucking weird. And I was like, "Well, what's going on here?" And and a lot of the Pippa fans were fucking pissed because it wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't. She wasn't always blown up. It wasn't good audio quality for them that people could hear them. As far as I'm aware, I was just what I observed, what was told, like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on over here?" That kind of stuff. But it may have been a one-off. Like maybe just a one-off thing. And there were others saying that none of the other people saying that none of the other streams have problems. They did have some small problems, but not like it seemed that FaZe Connect did. And then you have this post that came out, I believe, Sunday. "We had some internal miscommunications regarding the streaming of FaZe Connect's panel, resulting in an unintended broadcast and poor stream experience. As always, we appreciate our friends at FaZe." And it's like miscommunications you guys had. Like, I saw you guys having that big old meeting just before Pippa's stream, and it's like, how'd you miscommunicate? You guys are on a time hat. You can't miscommunicate because there's a schedule. So where the fuck is this miscommunication coming from? Pippa was scheduled for a certain time at a certain place, because all the capipis knew where it was. So what was this miscommunication? What could you miscommunicate to each other except for press the fucking button and send her in? That's what I don't get. And then there's our second big grain of salt. There's a post on 4chan. Now, 4chan is 4chan. You'd be crazy to believe anything on there, but they say, "Offkai volunteer here for the general convention, so not any specific group attendees. There are some unintentional mishaps, but there's also some deliberate sabotaging of attendees that those in charge do not like. It is not company-specific, more so individual-specific. Take of that what you will. I do not want to sit by while they do this. Believe me or not, I don't care. My conscience is free now that I have posted here. As far as I've been able to overhear, it will happen again at least one more time today and again tomorrow for the final events. Multiple groups of attendees will be affected. I will go the extra meter to do my best to prevent this for all of you in public defense. If you see someone being removed from the venue, they have stopped me. Please share this with the threads of the other attendees. I do not have the time to type it out to them, and I do not want to be seen sitting on my phone in the lobby." But I will say one thing, though. I will say one thing. This just came to mind is that, God, they did seem really happy after that Pippa thing. The staff like HQ rooms are on that little ring around behind the little snack shack thing by the escalators, and they did seem really pleased with themselves. And fuck, that time hat does track up. I thought they had done something like they brought cake there or some shit, but they did seem happy. Again, that's hearsay. That for me, it's best for me. That's hearsay. But they did seem really happy and pleased with themselves. Huh. And of course, there is this screenshot. This is apparently one of the guys who's running it. You know, he's yeah. Just read this. You know, and he said it was FaZe's decision, not ours. I'm thinking like, well, why would FaZe? This is during Pippa's other stream, which was also fucked. So that's the thing. Like, it's a lot of coincidences. You know, it's a lot of coincidences going on at this con, and it could all just be nothing, but it's awfully funny that both of Pippa's things were fucked. It's just, you can't just ignore it, especially when all the other events, I'm like, hey, press, pop in, take a few pictures, pop in, and they're going just fine. Now, I do want to say I don't blame these people. It's not that Vtuber's fault or that announcer's fault or anyone's fault. But you're going around, you're looking at all these other events, and they're going swimmingly. You know, I was there for most of the cosplay thing, a lot for all of the other big events, you know, and I didn't stay. I poked my head in. I want to abuse shit. I poked my head in, looked around, took notes, observed, and left. But they were working just fine. They were working quite well. But yet, all of Pippa's things weren't. Things involving Pippa weren't. And it just doesn't seem like something you can ignore, especially when it's quite clear that there's a lot of hate for Pippa. As a rumor going around that Sakana said it's all my girls or no one. Like, I believe, as the private news network goes around, that they didn't want Pippa to say, hey, you can't bring Pippa. And Sakana said, fuck you, it's Pippa and everyone or no one at all. Which, again, it's like, I mean, they're very clearly anti-Pippa. It's obvious. You can't ignore that. And then things don't go well for Pippa, which is just, it's too obvious. It's just too obvious. And you're like, well, hey, Garbro, it could have been a network issue or a streaming issue. But yet, we have proof it wasn't. Like, Moonshine and Company have been running Kershaw and Nano around the entire time. Like, it was easy peasy. The fact that Moonshine could have his phones running, or even tablets. We had tablets running Kershaw and Nano together, no problems. And we did this all around the con. Moonshine went all around the con and did this himself. But you want to tell me there's internet issues? There's technical issues? We were running around with a tablet and a dream, and we made it work, but the whole staff couldn't get Pippa's things right. The staff could do all these other events. These room parties had excellent quality video and, you know, all this other shit, but for some reason this one event did go well. Why is that? Why is it that you can have a karaoke time in a room with another company that works fine, and everyone else or Face Connect works fine, but yeah, Pippa does not? I mean, it's way too much to ignore, and you'd be fucking dumb to ignore it. Mind you, everything I'm saying is hearsay, but from what I observed and what I saw as media, it was very clearly something going on. And for me, the smoking gun is that second staff meeting before Pippa's other event. I mean, I actually left Moonshine and Company to go investigate because I was kind of watching times on my phone, like, okay, it's coming up here soon. So I would leave. I would leave my friends behind for a few minutes and go try and see things. And before Pippa's big thing, it was the disappearance of Pippa and Tenma. You know, it's a big thing. It was going to be a whole bunch of people doing this fucking thing on the main stage. And it happened around Saturday at like 11 o'clock, something like that, 11 o'clock, I think. Like, the event was supposed to be a skit of some kind, a little fun skit for all to do together. and it was out of order. From what I understand, not all the songs were sung. Some people didn't show up at all, despite being. I mean, that could be their internet issue or technical issue on their end. That could be something like that. But like it didn't really happen. Like things looked kind of weird, and there were like the weird ads. Like I've seen a few of the other events on the main stage, and like it was a lot more put together, and people were pissed because of the ads. They were fucking. So I saw some of the comments on online about it, but it was just scuff. It was just really, really scuff, and it didn't really make any sense as to why it would be scuff. Like at first, Offkai says, "Oh, it's a miscommunication thing," but then they try and say that FaZe tried to pull the plug. Like it just seems so weird that only Pippa would have these problems. I mean, they're trying to communicate via they're writing shit and trying to talk to Pippa via like charades and writing, and Pippa was very clearly angry about it. And then like they're trying to like I remember someone said that they're trying to claim that Sakana pulled the plug right before Pippa came on for most of her things, or like. Or during her whole like mystery event thing, you have that one fucking dipshit in the comments saying no, it was a FaZe Connect thing. They said they're trying to kibosh what's going on, but then they all clearly hate Pippa on the staff. I mean, it's all too fucking weird. In that those two big weird meetings still stick out to me. Those two big meetings they had, and they didn't have those any other time. I just wish I'd gotten a good picture of that shit. I kept seeing it way like, oh shit, they're in a meeting. I try and run around and try and find them, and I just wasn't fast enough. I know David off X was saying some stuff like he was saying how they announced the stream in the FaZe Discord, and it was going so terribly that they deleted it, And then the Twitch mods tried to push the blame on the FaZe in the chat. So people have screenshots of this. It's in the chat trying to say that. And of course, the staff threatened to walk due to Pippa, and it's like, oh, it's a miscommunication. Was it miscommunication? Was it really? Are we gonna give them the walk on this? No one can prove anything. It's all hearsay this, hearsay that. But it's just way too on the nose. And it really does crack. It's why it all circles back to this FaZe Connect stuff. Like, if these people like Sakana are paying for the vendor tables and doing all this stuff, you best make fucking sure that all their shit is as crispy as possible. If you're going and doing all, if they're going through all this trouble to do certain stuff and their events aren't fucking perfect, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, they should have been putting every effort they could into making sure that those events were perfect. Yeah, for some reason, despite all the things that FaZe Connect did, coming in, it's just why were their events not good? And it's all because of Pippa, probably. Like, it's I don't think it makes sense. And of course, people meme about the whole moonshine thing and like us and Kirsha, but like. Having all these issues, yet we have Kirsha live outside in the crack den, in the alleyway, on a trash can, running at 1080p and talking live to her fans. And we're able to accomplish this shit, but they can't run a fucking event. It's just so crazy to me how, we're outside in the wind, fucking running around. Like, we literally took Kirsha, like I said, hey, Seki, follow me, and I dragged him and Kirsha past the fucking registration tables. Like, staff was there. As I said, Seki, face her towards the staff so they can see, and we walked Kirsha towards and past the staff in we did a huge horseshoe loop with Kirsha, and we had less technical issues doing that than they did with Pippa. Like, if we can run Kirsha and smuggle her in on a fucking tablet like a goddamn lich with a goddamn phylactery, like, man, you can't kill us, walking through there in a giant horseshoe, only having a few drops due to hotspot getting too far away because of moonshine. Why couldn't they? It's just, it didn't make any sense to me, and I'm going on and on about it. And y'all can see the fucking screenshots and Google it yourselves. But it's sus. All right, it's just fucking sus. I saw those meetings. There were the issues after those meetings. Take from it what you will. Just take from it what you will. Now, towards the end of the video, I want to hark about one thing, and that's just helping out the indies. I talked to a lot of indie VTubers at the event, and everyone holds the corporate dream. And I want to why do you want to go corporate? And a lot of them said they don't. A lot of them say they don't want to go corporate. They just want help. And there are a lot of smaller teams out there, like the folks behind Tomo, who I'll be hopefully interviewing here soon. I got sent an email. But, these little smaller managers who are just making life easier for these indie tubers. A lot of these indie tubers are fitting a niche, like Tomo, like all the others. They're trying to fit a niche that they want to be into. And there are a lot of difficulties. There's a lot of things that are difficult for these indie VTubers. Like Tomo herself, she's in the military. Her niche is veterans or active duty or the military inclined. That's her niche. And indie tubers like Tomo need that support group to help them grow. Like, there are guys in that line who traveled all the way there just to see Tomo. They're there just for her. They wanted to see Tomo. And, Tomo has a team behind her who's helping. But a lot of indie tubers don't. They and some of them, I was talking, like the one who said, like, I'm tired of being called mommy. She banned the word mommy. She said, like, I just want a team to help manage social media. Just a small team to help take some of the weight off of, like, the things she had to do. Because an indie tuber has to manage all these things. And they have to manage all these things and then go on camera go on screen as their avatar and entertain. And if you're so mentally zapped by doing all these different things, and how do you have the mental capacity to be entertaining or be funny or even stream for more than an hour? So I'm sitting out an SOS out there for all the indie tubers. A big old SOS flare for anyone out there who has the gumption to be a manager, to help out the indies. Was it God Save the Outcast? Like, go out there and give these poor guys and girls the breath they need. Give them their breathing space. I was talking to a Marine who, he's a manager and he helps manage things. And he did it because it's something that had to be done. He went out there to do this because not everyone wants to go corporate. They don't want to be this big thing. They just want a little bit of help. So if you're out there and you have the technical know-how of how to, like, say you're a social media expert or whatever else, and you have the know-how to help these talents out, go out there and do it because they need it and they want it. Me, I'm a fucking retard, so I don't know how to help these people, but there are people out there who know what needs to be done and how to do it to help out the indies, to help out the VTuber outcasts who aren't good enough for the big-time corporations. I've got more stuff, but I think an hour's far long enough. So if you're out there, help out the indies. Sakana, that's big on you for buying out those vendor tables. They really, really appreciated it. They really did. And that's a pretty big pimp move, if you ask me. I didn't care much for Sakana. I was like, just a fish guy. But the fact he went in and paid for those tables changed how I view Sakana by quite a bit. So I want to thank you for them if need be. I thank you, Sakana, for helping out the vendors. Vendors are the unsung heroes of all cons. The vendor halls are where a lot of people spend their time. They try and find the merch, they try and spread the word. And the fact you did that, fucking A+, my guy. Offkai, you're in for a reckoning, I think. You pissed off Face Connect. You pissed off a lot of fans. A lot of fans are mad at Offkai. Your venue is too small. Your lines are too long. Your merch area was super duper small. I've seen cons in Kansas that are fucking like little niche cons, have more fucking vendor space and vendors than you guys did. And very clearly, there are biases in your staff. Things I observed, things I heard, there are clearly biases. And maybe it's because you're a bunch of fucking liberal Californians, who knows. But the point of a con like this, the point of a con of this kind of specific caliber, is to give the fans what they want. It's not about you. These kind of cons aren't fucking about you. It's not about your goddamn opinions or what the fuck you think. It's about those people who flew all the way there from all over the fucking country to go to your goddamn con. If all these rumors are true, if all this shit is true about how the hell you put your own beliefs and feelings in front of others, then fuck you, Offkai. If it turns out that all this is true, that I hope your con fucking dies. Because you put yourselves before the people who came to spend money at that hotel and at your con and buy shit, who paid for those badges, and you more or less just put a big old fucking fart in everyone's face. It's never about you. Who gives a fuck if you don't like Pippa? It's not about your fucking opinions. It's about the people who came to see her. It's about the people who came to see anyone at that con. Your job is to cater to them, not to yourselves. If Sakana Jesus, if it turns out that you guys did what you did, and it comes out the light, I hope Sakana fucking buries you. If you have any information, or I got something wrong, or something to add, say it down below in the comment section. Send me an email. Find me on Discord at GuardBroski. And until I see you next time on this side of the veil, this has been GuardBro.